a stranger is following them, perhaps on a date, and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People's City Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear, call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. You get it?
Yes, good job.
So what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
My early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
But it gave my mom and me more time to plan together.
Talk to your family about seeing a doctor. Go to alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Welcome into Fitness Fanatics on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Now here are your hosts, Jeff and Nicole Essig.
All right, welcome into Fitness Fanatics, Sunday, March 5th. The year's just flying by.
Yep.
Already into March. Hopefully our spring is getting close. But it's been a really good week. Today's going to be a pretty big day in Husker athletics. A lot of stuff going on for March 5th.
Mm-hmm.
Almost all sports.
I think Nebraska baseball plays Ole Miss today too.
Yes.
And that's last year's champs.
Yes.
And they just knocked off number 7 Vanderbilt.
Yes, that's part of it.
Yeah.
Baseball team I just looked. So Ole Miss is ranked 4th in the country. The defending national champions. In wrestling, I'm not a big wrestling follower. I do kind of know what's going on, so I know
you
that.
Just don't know what's going on when the match is actually happening.
Yeah, I watch it and I just don't really understand.
Keep up with the.
To be fair, we have talked about that. We have for ticket weeknights, we had one of the wrestlers come in and he even said it's, as a casual fan, they change the rules every year. So the points might be different year to year. So it's constantly changing, and it's kind of a problem with wrestling right now. It is a hard sport to kind of follow with the way it's scored.
Well, I know when Hulk Hogan pins Andre the Giant, I know who wins that match, right?
It's not the same wrestling.
But I do know. So Nebraska, they have 5 wrestlers wrestling for Big Ten championships today.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that starts at 3:30. I'm not sure exactly when the actual finals are, but one of our instructors, Carrie Manning, is Mark Manning's wife. We've had Coach Manning on our show, and Carrie, so we're always rooting for them.
You had Manning on your show?
Yeah,
we did
that
right
one.
at the beginning,
in May.
May. Yeah.
Damn, I'm gonna have to listen to that.
Yeah,
I do love Manning. I think he's a fantastic coach.
Yeah, so we had them on our show.
We
did.
did.
And the women's bowling team is at the Big Red Invitational just down the street.
Yep.
So I think after our show, we're gonna go check that out for a little bit. And then at 1 is always when Nebraska plays Iowa in anything, it's kind of a big deal. And I think it could be, I know after that Michigan State game, we were all kind of deflated a little bit, the momentum and wind got out of the sails. But, back on Black Friday,
remember that time?
The Iowa football team had a chance to win the Big Ten West. play for the Big Ten championship, and all they had to do was beat lowly Nebraska with an interim head coach, an interim defensive coordinator, and a 3-win team at home on senior night. That's all they had to do. And they lost. Yeah. And they really got their butts kicked.
Anything's possible.
It was a miracle it was even close. So let's fast forward to today. Things don't look good. Iowa's an 11-point favorite. I believe I just read a post from Sipple this morning that Fred's every game that Nebraska's played in Iowa City under Fred Hoiberg, they've lost by an average of 29 points a game. Okay, so
we have a lot of room for improvement.
It looks bleak, but if Iowa wins today, they will be the 2 seed in the Big Ten tournament with a double bye. If they lose, they're not getting a double bye. So everything is in front of them again, this time in men's basketball. Now, what we do have going for us is we beat them pretty handily the first time we played. So I don't think Nebraska is going to be intimidated, scared.
16-point win, 66 to 50.
I mean, and what was staggering to me watching that game, I mean, it looked like Nebraska just physically manhandled Iowa. They could not.
I think if I remember right, Derek Walker had himself a day. I think he had a double even.
Yeah, it was pretty remarkable. So, and Coach Hoiberg, I just looked this up today, has 9-6 against Fran McCaffrey head-to-head all time with his time at Iowa State.
Oh, yeah.
And then his record with Nebraska isn't as good as it was with Iowa State, but 9-6 all time. So, he's not intimidated, but if Iowa's shooting the ball well, it's going to be a long day. That's kind of just what it is. So Iowa was dead to the water until Fran had a stare down with the ref.
I thought that was weird.
And
I
was like, I don't. You're not gonna fight. If you know you're not gonna fight, the staring. It's like you guys aren't swinging. Like, what are you doing?
I didn't like that.
Now I did tell Nicole when Fran got kicked out of the Northwestern game, thrown out.
Yep.
Multiple technicals. I told her, I was like, he usually does this when Iowa really doesn't have a chance. Like the game's over.
Which is worse.
He does it to get his team motivated.
Yeah.
Is that also bad?
So against Michigan State, they're
toxic masculinity everywhere.
It worked. Because
that's worse.
It worked because they were down 10. He had his little epic stare down.
I don't know.
And
goes in OT.
And then they just score 23 points in 90 seconds. They win. Then they blow Maryland out. And here we go.
I don't like it.
Or they blow Indiana out. Just blew them off the court.
Nebraska and Iowa is 8 losses in a row right now. So
really,
eight times in Iowa.
At Iowa.
At Iowa. Yeah. So not overall. They don't have an 8 game, but I'm just saying the road games.
Statistically, that gives us pretty good. That's why 9. We're gonna go 9. I don't know. That seems.
And Nebraska lost 7 straight football. So every streak has to end.
It's true. It's true.
So,
I wasn't a fan. I'm not a fan of that coach.
Fran?
Yeah, I don't like it.
Well,
the stare down just made me laugh.
It was just funny. Tacky. Okay. I don't like it. Okay, I wouldn't want my son learning under that. I don't know.
So anyway, big day today in Husker athletics, all the way around.
I think gymnastics had meets too. I saw something stat
yesterday. Yeah, they were setting records. I mean, just I
think it was Big Tens for them as well, right?
Probably.
I think it was also Big Tens. Let me double check here.
It's just things are just going really well right now for Nebraska athletics. So hopefully we can keep those positive.
The bowlers, we talked about that kind of they were first going into today too for
the big red invitational. Yeah. And then softball teams playing well, baseball teams playing well.
Wins for both.
So a lot of you just think, March 5th on a Sunday, what are we gonna do today? But you can you can follow the baseball game, the basketball games at 1, the wrestlers start later tonight. So this is
is state basketball done?
The women's state basketball tournament's over.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you guys get to catch any of that?
When I was in the car driving around all week, I always kind of listen to Nick doing the play-by-play. When I was in here on Friday meeting with Jay Grieco, was telling me about a gal that plays for Elkhorn South, Britt Prince, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Britt Prince.
Okay. So then I messaged him Saturday. I said, hey, when do they play? So he told me. So I checked her out a little bit because she's one of the best players in the state for recruiting for the next class.
Mm-hmm.
So
she's junior right now.
Yeah, and I think she scored like 30 points and they won the state title. So
That's
who knows?
pretty cool.
Maybe she can be our Caitlin Clark.
Right? Me and my girlfriend were actually talking about that yesterday. It's like, she's that good.
That's cool.
Like if you could keep her in state, because there was that game they were playing. It was Elkhorn North, the Wolves versus Scott. And as soon as she first quarter didn't score, but the rest of the team was kind of doing their thing. And then the second quarter, she has 4 threes in a row. There's 12 points quick.
That's so
before
cool.
the end of the half, she's pretty much at the 20. And then she tweaks her ankle, and as soon as she steps off the court, here comes Scott coming back. And then it's like, oh man, that just tells you like she is that good. She just makes everyone that much better. So if Nebraska could find a way to hold on to her,
that'd be awesome.
You really could. I'm not sure what her ceiling is, but like her efficiency is like outrageous how efficient she is as a shooter.
And patient, it sounds like, if she
very patient.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So shout out to Rico
for
great help. Dropping that knowledge to me.
Yeah.
So because he was asking, I was like, well, I haven't really followed, high school basketball. I know our son goes to East, so I know they're in the state tournament. They play Wednesday, like 3:00. So I'll probably be tuning in on the ticket to listen to that game as well. So that'll be pretty cool. So yeah, just a lot going on today, this week, in the world of sports. So I figured
we're more than just football.
Yeah. We're more than just football
right now. Yeah, it's good to say that.
I know.
Yeah. So I figure we don't talk a lot of sports, but there's just like so much going on, and I know there was so much high school basketball coverage all week, so didn't have the usual rundown of all the shows and the student athletes coming in and all that stuff. So we thought we'd chime in here and give everybody a little update. So we'll get on here. We got another 10-15 minutes before we go to break. So we're going to be joined here coming up at 9:30. So Farrell's does a national 1-year challenge every year where the corporate office gives away $10,000 to one male and one female for the best transformation over the course of a year. That is something that our very own Mark Onweiler is participating in right now. He's I think he's going to be done with his year challenge in June. I think Father's Day weekend is when he is finished.
Good timing.
But then he won't know until January 2024, if he won or how he did or that type
because
of thing.
Everyone who does in 2022 has to finish their year.
Yeah.
So
everybody who did the 10-week challenge in 2022 will be finishing up in 2023.
Yeah.
So the judging is basically for all of those participants all over the country, not just in Nebraska or Iowa or wherever. So, but we're going to be joined here via the stream by our female winner, Callie. She is from Texas, and she was our female $10,000 winner. So she has an amazing transformation story, emotional story that I'm sure every single listener can relate to, especially if you're a mom
or a parent in
or a parent in general. So we're excited to have her join us. So that's coming up at 9:30. She'll be with us for the rest of the show because we have a lot to talk about with her. But a segment we started last week, we'll kind of get to that, is we all set some goals for this week. My goal was to run 3 times last week and drink 100 ounces of water a day. So 2022, I ran 9 miles total for the whole year, 9 miles. Sunday after our show, we went out and I ran 3 miles on Sunday. I ran 2 miles on Tuesday. I ran 2 miles on Thursday. And then this morning I ran 4 miles. So it's weird. Check. Both goals accomplished. But what's interesting is last Sunday when we ran, it was brutal for me. First time I had ran since September. I think I had mentioned that. I was walking. It was just like, this is never going to end.
How far did you go that first time?
3 miles.
3 miles. Okay.
So which is a lot. We work out every day, multiple times a day.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be, I don't want people to feel like if they can't run 3 miles, then that's bad. But you're used to working out for 45 minutes every single day. So you should be able to just go run 3
miles. and I've done 5 marathons.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I should be able to do that.
Right.
But
if you've never ran before, please don't try to go run 3 miles.
Right. Don't just go run for like 5 minutes and start light.
Yeah.
It's like a mile. I think most people can start with a mile, even if you have to walk at some point. Just a mile. I think most people, that's a great starting point.
Yeah, it's a good judge of like where you are and see where you can go. But anyway.
So last Sunday, my pace was 12 and a half minutes.
Which we're not fast runners anyway.
No, we're not.
Right.
For the 3 miles. So then I ran 2 miles on Tuesday, and my legs were so sore. My hamstring. I mean, I was ridiculously sore. Just put it that way. Tuesday, I'm like, I do not want to get out and do this. Like my legs were so sore on Tuesday, but I'm just like, you know what? If I don't get this goal and we come on this show today and I ran one time, I'm going to hear about it.
Plus, I called you out too because I ran Tuesday morning and then I tagged you and said, it's your turn.
So I got out and I did the 2 miles and it was brutal again. Run, walk. I was going to walk a little bit. Then I had to walk because I had to. And it was just, it was really tough. And then Thursday I got out and I was like, wow, I feel pretty good. Like I ran nonstop 2 miles, didn't walk at all, which was, I wasn't planning on it, but I just felt really good. And I was like 10.5-minute pace. And then today did 4 miles, ran the whole thing, no walking. And I was like 10:59.
That's pretty good though.
I know.
1 week. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just like, it just kind of goes to show like when you start anything and you haven't done it for a while, yes, it's going to be hard. But if you give yourself a little time to do it, and it gets easier. But so that's kind of my goal. So I did accomplish my goal. So Nicole, your goal was to eat 30 vegetables, different fruits and vegetables.
Plants, 30 plants.
Yeah,
that's fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds count, all that stuff. So yes, I made a breakfast burrito or a quesadilla this morning with black beans, corns, and jalapenos, and that hit my 30 for the week. So
you're done?
I got them all in.
Awesome.
Yep. I ate some stuff that I don't normally eat. I ate spaghetti squash, which I normally don't like, but I found a way to eat it. It was good. I'll make it again for sure. Spaghetti squash. I had some tomatoes, which I don't usually eat tomatoes unless it's like in a sauce, but I like whole tomatoes. I had some sauerkraut, carrots, cabbage, spinach, romaine lettuce, white beans, black beans. I had some sunflower seeds, some dried apricots, apple, pear. So I had a good
So are you going to do
variety.
that this week?
Yeah, I'm going to do that again this week.
Do we have enough of this stuff? Like, so we can just use it again?
We
or
have
do you
some.
have to go buy all this stuff?
I'll still have to buy some stuff, but everything you can buy stuff now, and you can just buy like one. I did buy 2 pairs because I thought about 2 pairs on like Friday, and I was like, well, it's almost the end of the week, so I'll eat one now, and then I'll eat one on Monday, and then Katie ate it.
Did you eat a grapefruit?
Which was funny. No, see, that's one I could eat. A grapefruit.
Grapefruit is brain food.
I know.
You should start every morning.
Yeah, I know.
Half a grapefruit.
Yeah, that's a Gilmore Girls reference, but that's a good. I love grapefruit. I'm gonna have grapefruit. I had pineapple. I had oranges. I had a lot of. 30. It's a lot. It seems like a lot, but it's really wasn't that bad.
So we're all holding ourselves accountable on the show. Harrison, you had a goal to read a book.
I did it too.
In 1 week.
Did that?
Yeah, Witcher: Baptism of Fire. Started it it was only about 320 pages too, so it wasn't like super long. If it was like
that's like Jeff saying I only ran 3 miles.
That 320 pages, that would be like
a lot for Jeff to sit down and read
like
that
an
much.
ultra marathon for me to read that much.
Break it out through a week though, and you realize it's like I really don't got to read that. Right. And then sometimes you get carried away. But no, I went well. I got it done. Turned out to be a favorite one of the series. But the funny thing was I didn't tell my girlfriend beforehand. So for a while she just kept noticing me reading, and she got to the point she's like, did I do something? What's wrong? You've just been ignoring me all day. And it's like, oh no, I'm doing this thing. Like,
right.
And she waited like a few days to ask me. I was like, no, I'm just reading.
Right.
But no, got it done. Great book.
Heard you guys talking on the show after us about you just found out about Goodreads. Did you get into Goodreads?
No, I didn't download that.
Okay.
No, I forgot about that now that you mentioned it. But
that's funny.
That does seem cool. Goodreads would actually be fun. Did you hear what that was?
Yeah, we were listening.
Okay,
yeah. Jeff's not a reader, so no.
I think it could be though. Like if you actually downloaded it and you never read, and then all of a sudden you start seeing like people that you have similar interest with.
Yes.
I think you'd be surprised.
I had a Goodreads account a long time ago. I should try to see if I can still get into it. It probably has like the Twilight series and Hunger Games on it. So that's not that long ago, but I do like reading, but I prefer audiobooks because it's hard sometimes to sit down and read a book.
I do like audiobooks
I know,
too.
but
I don't really see them as cheating either.
I know.
It's
I think so too. I don't know. But I also like the thought of like putting your phone down and reading a book too. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. But
all right, so we all hit our goals.
Yep.
If you're out there listening and you had a positive health, fitness, wellness, something that you achieved this week, you can text us in on the Starter Haven text line at 402-464-5685. Let us know your accomplishment. If we get anything, we'll go ahead and read those throughout the show. We also posted on our Instagram page. We had a few people that commented on there that they had a few goals that they wanted to reach. So if you're listening like later this week and you come up with something that you want to hold yourself accountable, you can share that, post that on our Instagram, because Nicole, hopefully she'll post it again.
Sure.
So real quick before we go to break. So obviously my positive for fitness for this past week,
I think all of ours
running.
is just hitting our goals.
Yeah.
Positive.
That makes it easy for us. We're killing two birds with
but
one
it's
stone.
Also kind of what do you learn from it too? Like I've learned from my 30 plants in a week is like, and I know this, but it's the thing of where like so many times, like because I was eating so many fruits and vegetables, I really didn't have room or the desire to eat things that were less healthy. Like I just didn't have time to eat Doritos because I was too busy worrying about, okay, I got to get in at least 3 vegetables today or I'm going to be off track or whatever. So I think that's what I've kind of learned from that is like, and I know this because I've done this to myself so many times where you get tired, especially for us, like maybe we teach multiple classes and we're tired. And I know I should like take 10 minutes and make a good meal, but I'm too tired. So I just eat a bowl of cereal, but then I'm not hungry for the food that I need to eat. So I think that's what I kind of learned from that was that it helps me stay on track with everything.
Yeah.
So that was my positive.
That's why I can't eat ramen anymore. I used to eat ramen all the time and like you'd eat one of those and then you'd like, I ate nothing. Like you don't feel any satisfaction.
So yesterday, Aldi has this, I don't know if you've ever shopped.
Yeah,
Aldi.
I love Aldi's.
You live right by there, don't you?
Absolutely love Aldi's.
They have, and I'll have to go again today because I don't know if it's a forever thing. They have a thing of ramen that's 20 grams of protein and 20 grams of carbs.
Is it the same company?
It's
same
like,
brand?
no, yeah, it's in a little like container and you put hot water in it or microwave it or whatever. And it's plant protein. So it's like the ramen is made with wheat flour, but it's also made with pea protein. So the noodles themselves, I think, are a little higher in protein. And then it has like some soy products too, but it's like plant-based, 20 grams of protein and 20 grams of carbs.
If it tastes good.
It's good. I had
it
yesterday. Like I bought it like Tuesday and it sat on the counter and because I was skeptical. And so it's good. It's good. You should check it out. It was in that it was in that section, like right by the freezer section, like that middle freezer section. It's on that side where there's like random stuff. So I'm a little worried that they're not going to have it forever, but it was good. It was legit. I would check it out today.
I'm gonna have to go there because, like you said, I don't know. All these they'll rotate.
I know. Yeah.
So hopefully they keep it.
I saw it on TikTok. I was influenced, and I had to go to the one on O Street. I didn't see it, but I went to the one by where you live on Yankee Hill, and they had it. So check it out. It was good. Yeah, 20 grams of protein. But Jeff.
Oh well,
I was looking at him.
Well, that's funny. Callie hadn't gotten our email yet.
Yeah, that's why I was waiting to go to
she
break.
She gave me the wrong email address.
Oh, okay.
That's why. It had a typo.
It's easy to do sometimes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, we'll go to break then.
So we'll get Callie sent her. Her
Jeff is not good at multitasking.
Well, real quick.
It was pretty funny.
Quick.
Yeah.
So here's what I learned.
Okay. So you were listening.
Well, I was listening. Yeah, I was just like doing 2 things at once.
You're not very good at that.
I know, but I was listening.
Okay.
So the thing I learned was I kind of squashed a bunch of excuses that I had, right? Like, okay, one, I can't run before our show. That was one excuse.
That was a saga yesterday.
Yeah.
When are we going to, before or after?
Well, and I figured there was too much stuff going on after to get it done with all the Husker stuff
we
that I want to
wanted
watch.
do. Yeah.
Yes. So, and
Good.
then, so we ran this morning, and then the other one was I can't run in the afternoon, right? Which I did last Sunday.
Yeah.
And so, I squashed some of those. Another one was like, oh, I don't really want to run when it's cold. Check. Did that this morning.
Yeah. That's
not a big deal. So yeah, I squashed a lot of excuses that I have normally busted out over, the last year and a half. That's why when you run 9 miles in a year and a half, you have a lot of excuses not to do it.
Yeah.
So no, but anyway, so I feel good.
Do you have a new goal for next week?
Okay. Yeah. So real quick, new goal. So our son works at Culver's. So this is my goal for this week. And this is, I don't know if this sounds bad as a fitness fanatic, but my goal is to not have our son get any Culver's for me this week. I'm telling you, it's so easy.
Yeah.
It's so easy. Especially when he just buys it for me. Like, hey, can you get me some ice cream on a Wednesday?
Yeah.
Right?
To be clear, I do not have this problem.
No, you don't. But and to be clear,
I wouldn't be able to get my fruits
Nicole
and vegetables in.
is always in bed when I have to go pick him up.
That's true too.
So he gets off at 9.
So you're off the hook.
9:30. Yeah.
I don't even need to know.
I can eat it before I get home in the car and then just throw it away and she would never know. Yeah. So all those things. So that's kind of my goal. Well, I need to run again.
Yeah. Keep the goals you already had.
Keep my goals, my 100 ounces of water, my 3 times this week running, and then no Culver's.
You can do it.
So I don't know if the owner of Culver's would like
Think
that
about
goal
how
very much
better you'll feel next Saturday running.
That's right.
Having not had Culver's all
That's
week.
what I said. When I got out of the car, I was like, wow, I cut all this time off in just a week. Just think how much better I would do if I actually fueled my body to run. So next week we're going for 5 miles, and then we just increase every single week until this half marathon coming up in the first weekend in May. So that's kind of my goal. So next week I'll run 2.5 miles on Tuesday, 2.5 miles on Thursday to get to my 5, which I said that's kind of what I do for training for these half marathons is whatever I'm going to run on the weekend. That's what I get during the week. And then it makes it so much easier on the weekend, because I've done the opposite, or I've done both where I just don't run all week and then I'll do 5 miles.
You can do that, but just your recovery is harder.
Your recovery is harder. Yes. And your muscles just, because we work out every day, but there's a difference between doing kickboxing and just strength training versus running.
Yeah. It's a little more endurance.
Your hips, your ankles, you're just using different muscles when you're out running for an hour and a half straight versus, where we work our quads for 10 minutes. Our hamstrings for 10 minutes versus using all those muscles for an hour.
Harrison, do you have a goal?
What do you run? 5 miles next week? I'll match. I'm gonna get back on running. So
in one time, or you're gonna run 5 miles total for the week?
Oh, the total. I should probably.
Yeah, you've only.
Yeah, I should probably do. Okay, I'll try to get to at least. I can probably get 7 miles before the week. Yeah. Total.
Okay.
Now, what did you run last week at all?
Yeah, I did actually.
Okay.
I got out there. It was getting nice enough. So now it's getting to the point where my biggest problem is when it gets to the cold season.
I love running in the cold. I don't mind.
Make so many excuses. That's when I because I'm
that's what I did.
I'm like, I hate the treadmills.
Okay, well that's
a
big.
room.
I'm pretty sure there's snowflakes in the forecast for next week.
Tuesday,
so
it was cold.
You made that commitment.
Yeah. It was crisp.
I thought it felt great. But we got to go to break. But that's 7 miles total, not in one sit.
That's easy. I can do a 4 and a 3.
Break it up.
And be done.
Okay.
All right. So we got our goals set.
Yep.
So we're going to go to break. When we come back, we'll be joined with Callie. She has joined us on the stream. So everything's been resolved on the email front and we're good to go. So we'll be right back on Fitness Fanatics 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Jay Foreman. When I played football for Nebraska and in the NFL, I wore protective gear to safeguard my health. Today, I'm not only protecting my health, but everyone in our community by staying up to date with the bivalent COVID vaccine. Update your protection with the bivalent COVID vaccine while it's still free. Find out more at healthylincoln.org. That's healthylincoln.org.
This message is for Karina, our mom who finished her high school diploma at age 28. Hi, Mom. It's Emmettith and Nicholas. Congratulations on getting your diploma. You worked so hard and have taught us so much. We love you.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them.
Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
Neil Armstrong waited 6 hours and 39 minutes to step onto the surface of the moon. Jackie Robinson waited 20 months to play his first game with the Brooklyn Dodgers. And even DiCaprio had to wait 22 years to win an Oscar. You can wait until your destination. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
If you can plan barbecues and weddings, you can plan to protect yourself from a natural disaster. Sign up for local alerts, prepare an emergency kit, and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them?
By their clothes,
their age,
the way they speak. Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
My early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
But it gave my mom and me more time to plan, together.
Talk to your family about seeing a doctor. Go to alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids. First, I hold my hands out like they're on a steering wheel. Then I look over my shoulder. Next, I put it in reverse. Beep, beep, beep. Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Now back to Fitness Fanatics on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in to the Fitness Fanatics. We're so glad that you decided to join us here on this Sunday morning. It's going to be a beautiful day here in Lincoln, Nebraska. Sun's out. It's going to be in the 60s. Now, I know the 60s for our guest is probably like parka weather.
Oh, yeah.
Coats, snow pants, snowshoes. But here in Nebraska, it's like flip-flops, tank tops, shorts.
Hardcore.
Yes. How are you, Callie?
I'm great. How are y'all?
Good. Y'all. You can tell that our guest is from the South because even when we were messaging back and forth, she messaged me a y'all.
Usually a lot of y'all's, a lot of fixing tos. I'm fixing to do this.
All right. Well, Callie just won $10,000 from Farrell's, from Lance Farrell. I believe she was awarded this in January.
Yeah, she earned.
She earned. She didn't win.
Yeah.
She earned $10,000, which is so awesome. So we wanted to have her come on because she has an amazing transformation story. So we love on this show having different guests on that, not that have just done Farrell's, but have done other things that have changed their life and help inspire and motivate others. That's kind of what our goal is behind Fitness Fanatics. So we thought, well, who better to come on than amazing transformation story. So I appreciate you taking your time to come on and join us.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Good. We have a great story, and we're excited to share it with our listeners and everybody that's tuning in. So we kind of wanted to start, Callie, just to get to know you a little bit, kind of your background, go back to like growing up, high school. Were you into fitness? Did you play sports? Like kind of what was your pre-Farrell's fitness background when you were young?
Even pre-adulthood. I played sports. I dabbled in sports from elementary school through high school. I was a cheerleader, volleyball until it was obvious I wasn't going to grow over 5'2", which I think I stopped growing somewhere in junior high. So when everybody kept going and I didn't, it made it a little harder. I did track and field. But my sport was softball. I loved playing softball. But kind of, when high school was over, all that organized sports, I stopped. And then kind of here and there in the gym, like going to box gym, get on an elliptical for about 20 minutes sporadically, maybe like once every 3 weeks. And that was it for a really long time. Until probably my early 30s when I got engaged, and like every bride, I wanted to look amazing for my wedding. So I started running. And it's funny, you mentioned like Texas weather. It is hot and humid here, like 10 months out of the year. So there was a gym, a YMCA across the street from my work that had an indoor track. So that was literally the only reason I picked up running, because it was climate controlled. So I would do that on my lunch break. I did it for about 5 or 6 months. And then once the wedding was over, I was like done, and like regularly scheduled program, like I jumped right back into like not doing anything. So kind of sporadic, really. I mean, I enjoy sports. I enjoy watching sports, but I would say I'd been very unathletic since high school.
Okay. So so we want to do a little backstory, like, because I know every guest that we've had on that's had like amazing transformations, and Nicole and I have had our moments where, it's like that one moment where it's like, oh my gosh,
the wake up call or the
rock bottom is what
sometimes.
So like my wake up call was being 30 years old and being denied life insurance because I was in such bad health. Yeah. So that was my like, okay, I'm in trouble here. Like I need to do something. So that's why I decided to join Farrell's. So give us a little background on, the 2 years leading up to when you decided to join Farrell's. I know in your story, COVID's in there. So kind of take us back to, all of that time before you started your 10-week challenge journey with Farrell's.
So before my first 10-week challenge, it really was like rewind 13 months. And I'm a later in life mama. So my last son, my second child, I was 41 when I had him, which, first of all, if no one's ever been through that fun, every doctor appointment, they like to remind you you're a geriatric pregnancy. So it's like in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm the old lady who's not going to be able to get back in shape. But then I had a plan, like hearing that for like almost 10 months. I'm like, I can't, with my first pregnancy, I gained like twice the recommended amount of weight. I mean, it was a celebration of eating whatever the heck I wanted, and it was super hard to lose the weight. And my kids are about almost 5 years apart. So I really thought about it. I'm going to do something different this time. It'll be different. And so I had my son at 41, February 2020. And if anybody remembers those dates, you know what's coming.
Oh, yes. We know what's
like
coming.
So it was 6 weeks postpartum. So 2 weeks before I was supposed to start back to work, we all went into lockdown. And so all the well-laid plans, I mean, we didn't even have a plan to like how we were going to take care of our kids. I mean, they were going to be in school and in daycare. I was going to go back to work. Now that's even on its ear. People can't come and help us. Like my mom couldn't even come and stay with us to help us. So we were, my husband and I work from home with an infant and a 5-year-old, and indefinitely. I mean, because if you remember back then, we didn't know, is it a week? Is it a month? Is it a year? You don't know how long it's going to be like that. So
right.
So we went into very deep survival mode. Just like every day was just to get from like in the morning to at night. And then the next day was the same thing. So we didn't have a long-term plan. and to help. I see now the things that we did that we thought would be helpful ended up becoming really bad crutches. But one of those, we brought like the chair down, the chair that was in the nursery, we brought it down to our bedroom. And literally, I ended up sitting in that chair probably 22 hours a day, doing everything from that chair. Like I ate, I rocked the baby in that chair. He slept in that chair. I slept in that chair. When I went back to work and work from home, I set up a desk in front of me and I was literally working from that chair. So, and when I say 22 hours a day, that is generous. Like, yeah, I barely moved because my husband, being super helpful, he would bring things to me like bottles and food. So I was only getting up and moving a couple of feet a day. And again, not knowing how long that was going to last, it became the normal. Without us even, it just kind of became the normal. And then when like the world opened back up and the kids were able to go to school and go to daycare, I was still in that chair. I didn't know how to get out of that chair because it became my normal thing. And so I did that for about 13 months. And there were things leading, I mean, you say your moment, there were like moments leading up to that where that hint of, hey, you need to get out of this chair. Things have gotten really bad. But, like my son started calling it mama's chair. Like he would come home from school and I could hear him, is mama in her chair? And it just felt away hearing that.
You
but
still have the chair?
I do. It's so funny. Lance Sparrow asked me, like, what are you going to do with the chair? Are you going to burn it? Are you going to keep it and put like a plaque around it? What are you going to do? And I said, I think eventually, obviously, we'll have to get rid of it. But for now, it's a good reminder sitting. It's in the living room now. I did have to get it out of our room so I wouldn't see it anymore. But it's sitting in the middle of the living room. But those little things being said, but I was in I've worked at the same company for about 17 years. And, when we went to work from home, like turn your cameras on so you can see each other, but I didn't because it was wasn't in love with myself. And I was in a meeting with someone and we were just talking work. I mean, nothing outside of work, but I guess my tone was a certain way. And since we'd worked together so long, I'm usually upbeat and positive. And I guess, when I talked to him about it now, he was just like, there was something in your voice. He said, hey, we have this gym and I think maybe you should just come in. It's down the street from you and just check it out. And I'm too polite to be like, no, I'm good. Because I definitely didn't want to. I mean, I couldn't even figure out how to like get out of the chair and like walk around the house. I definitely didn't want to go to a gym in front of other people and sort of, admit where I was. So I said yes, because out of politeness, and I think I dodged the first class I was supposed to go to. It came and went. Like I think I texted him and his wife, like, oh, something came up. Nothing came up. I was sitting in a chair. So I mean, like something came up, I'll postpone it. But in between that week of like postponing it and the next class that was supposed to roll around, my 5-year-old told me, he's like, Mommy, why don't you play with me anymore? And it took me back because I was like, I'm literally connected at the hip with you kids. Like, what do you mean I don't play with you? And then I really thought about it. I'm like, I'm not moving when I'm with them. Like I will be in the playroom with them and just sit and they play around me. And sometimes they crawl on me, but I'm not engaging. And he had seen it. And now I have this other newborn who's going to grow up and that's just going to be his normal, that mommy doesn't move, mommy doesn't play. And then my oldest will have known the difference. Eventually he'll forget and mommy will just, be the mommy that sits on the sidelines. And that is never the person or the mother I wanted to be. So I was like heartbroken when he said that. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to postpone this next outing at the gym. I'm going to go. I'm just going to go and see if this will help. And sort of the rest is history after that. I mean, it was the moment, the sort of rock bottom moment where I was like, this has gotten really bad. And then I tell people this all the time. If you want to change yourself, you have to be prepared to be humbled a whole lot, like over and over and over again. And you have to take it in a very positive way because you can't change what you're not going to be very transparent. If you're lying to yourself, how can you change anything? So you have to be willing to take those moments, look at them, feel them for what they are, feel them for the disappointment, the sadness. And for me, it was a lot of defeat. I just felt defeated. Feel it. And then just move on. Like, okay, I'm gonna do my best to not ever get in this place again. But that next couple of weeks was a whole lot of humility. There was just a whole lot of humility coming at me.
So did you just go in and just try out a class before the 10-week challenge started?
Yeah. So I went in probably, I think a week, maybe 2 weeks before actually, no, it was 3 weeks because it was the last week of the previous 10-week challenge. And then the 2-week downtime, and then it was the start of the 2-week challenge. And I actually ended up gaining like 3 pounds between the first scan and then my beginning of my 10-week challenge, because I had this mentality. And it's so funny. I look back now, I'm like, girl, what were you doing? But I had this mentality of the last meal, like
I think everybody does that.
Yeah, I think like 90% of people that start the 10-week challenge are like, okay, I'm weighing in on Thursday, so what am I gonna tear it up on Wednesday?
It's your last meal.
I know, and the thing is, like, you don't realize, like, I mean, you're still gonna eat delicious, but you're gonna find things you love, and it's not the last anything.
No.
But really, like,
it's human nature. It's human nature.
It's the unknown, right? And so definitely 3 pounds worth of the unknown. But I went in, and in my mind, I was going to try the class. I was already kind of set, and I'm probably not going to love this, but at least I tried, and then I'll go and find something else that'll work for me, because I'd never kickboxed before, and I'd never done strength training before. And so I expected it to be hard. And I remember sitting in the parking lot before the class started, just giving myself a pep talk, just get out of the car. You don't ever have to do this again. You just go in and do the class, say thank you and leave. That's literally what got me in the door. It's like, it's just the one time. And so go in, and I did my body scan. And that was the second point of extreme humility, because I knew what I weighed. Like, I have a scale at home. But when I saw the percentage of body fat, I was just like, I think I started crying. Like, it was bad. It was almost 47% body fat. I was telling somebody the other day, I'm like, I was like one supersized like hamburger meal away from 50%, like half of my body being body fat. And the visual of that, when I saw it come on the screen, was just, it was kind of devastating, knowing that I was carrying that around, and that's what I was doing to myself. And that's when I kind of made the switch of, maybe this isn't just the one class and leave. Like, maybe I can't afford for this to be the one class and leave situation. And that was in the back of my mind the whole first class. Was like, you are 47% body fat, keep moving. Like, you can't stop. I did stop though in the first class, and I had to go to the restroom and like put water on my face. I mean, I had gone from like not moving to like standing at this bag, and in my mind, I think I was like Muhammad Ali. I was out there like killing it. But I'm sure if you taped me, played it back, I was like moving in slow motion. But I had not moved. So it was like a real extreme amount of energy for me to do that. But I told myself, I'm not going to be the first person they call 911 on who gets carted out of here and given oxygen. Like, I'm going to rebound. And that was actually my first win, is that I went out and I finished the class. And so it was my absolute first one. And I remember it vividly. And I told myself that every time it was really hard to get up and go, every time it was a difficult class, I'm like, I survived the first one. I could survive this. Like, this will be nothing compared to that. And it was very much true. That first class was always the hardest. And even when I really, like, we do really crazy things and we really push ourselves, it's still never as bad as that first one.
Well, I think that story relates to 90% of the people that start at Farrell's. Like, what can I say to get out of it? I don't want to go. Like, I have on my phone, like, everybody that asks about Farrell's, hundreds of texts of like, people just, I mean, it's crazy.
You'll talk to them for 2 years. They'll be texting you every 10-week session before they sign up. So it's
so
absolutely.
Everybody has, we have that anxiety of like, oh my gosh, what to expect. Well, we're gonna take a break because we don't want to get into like the Farrell's journey until the top of the hour. So when we come back, we're gonna talk a little sports with you.
Yay!
Favorite NFL team and how you became a fan of that team. All right. So think on that. We're going to come back with Callie here in just a few minutes on 93.7 The Ticket. You're listening to the Fitness Fanatics.
Experience the Landmark difference with the next level of dealer support. Landmark, your local John Deere dealer, continually works to have parts on hand the first time you walk in the door. Our internal route system means we can get the parts to you typically same or next day to keep you up and running. At Landmark, we understand time is money. Get more uptime with our after-hours parts and service support on the phone or in the field. Our sales, precision ag, parts, and service teams are ready to serve you this planning season. Stop by your local Landmark today to experience the Landmark difference.
Veterans, do you know what local, state, and federal benefits and services you're eligible to receive? Do you want help navigating the application or appeals process? Speak to your county veteran service officer or the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs State Service Office to see what's available to you and your family. You've served our country, now let us serve you. Visit veterans.nebraska.gov today. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Baseball season is here, and your Husker baseball team wants to see you at Haymarket Park. Season tickets, diamond deals, and single game tickets are on sale now. Opening day is March 7th with the Huskers taking on Northern Colorado. For more information and to purchase tickets, visit huskers.com/tickets. The Huskers need your help kicking the home season off strong with Creighton, Omaha, and some of the best in the Big Ten coming to town. Need family plans for spring break? Come on down to Haymarket Park. For more information, go to huskers.com/tickets.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? By their clothes, their age, the way they speak? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job,
not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
Or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? Or a 14-year-old girl who signs up to every after-school activity, not to make friends, but just to get something to eat? Or a retiree who fell ill and had to choose
between getting medicine or groceries.
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew were hungry. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
I'm Chris Jakovic. I served in the United States Air Force, and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is "My job is people, everyone is my business." But unfortunately, in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakovic, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, "Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket," and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy, or you, your best man, your worst man, you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. That's doihaveprediabetes.org.
Wait, did they just say 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes? That's 33.33333% of adults. That means it could be me, my boss, or my boss's boss, or me, my favorite sister, or my other sister. That's 7 members of my 21-person romantic book club. Wait, the 1 in 3 could be me, my karaoke partner Carol, or my karaoke enemy Jeff. I'm going to take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
We all make choices about alcohol. Kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad. Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Hey, remind me about that party again?
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations, and they want honest answers in everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path.
Sponsored by DHHS and aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Now back to Fitness Fanatics on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in. We're joined now. Callie, how do you pronounce your last name? Oh, I can't.
Oh, here, 1 second here. All good.
There it's Sapolio.
So it's
phonetically
sounds just like
exactly.
It looks. All right, okay. All right. So, Callie, where at in Texas are you from? Like, what
I'm from
city do you?
Houston, born and raised.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so that means you are not a Dallas Cowboy fan.
That's exactly what that means.
Okay. So you're a Houston Texans fan, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
And so I've always like one of my really good friends is a lifelong Cleveland Browns fan. And when the Browns moved to Baltimore, he refused to cheer for Baltimore. Like he just he just was in kind of like NFL. Just
Who does he cheer for now?
Well, the Browns have a team.
Oh yeah,
now.
yeah.
So when the Houston Oilers moved to Tennessee,
Yep.
like, did you
Tennessee who? No, it was like
Tennessee who?
going through. Yeah, it was like going through like the worst sort of.
God.
Imagine like the worst divorce, where like you can't even be amicable, and you have to pretend that period in your life like never happened.
Like when Brett Favre went to Minnesota.
Oh yeah.
I'm a Packers fan.
But no, it's seriously, and I think about like the in between time. So I was born and raised like diehard Oilers. Love You Blue. Like I could probably still sing the song. I had the cheerleaders were called the Derek Dolls, and I literally had like a doll, Derek doll, and I would sleep with it. Like it was a whole thing in our house. So when they left, it was gutting. And we saw it like a year before, right? Because it was a very ugly year leading up to that. It's like the separation before the divorce. And then when they left, and for that first season, they were the Tennessee Oilers, which was like, change your name. So so that was tough. But I think about it now, and I was telling my husband the other day, I was like, the couple of years when we didn't have a team, he's like, I think it was more than a couple. But it kind of, it was a blur of denial. So I think it ended up being like 5 or 6 years, but I always think of it like maybe 2 years. But yeah, for those like 6 years or whatever, my team was whoever was playing the Cowboys. So that week, whoever was playing the Cowboys, you had my allegiance for like a whole week. So that's kind of how it went until we got the Texans.
Well, Harris and I are Bears fans, so we want to personally thank the Houston Texans for winning Week 18 against the Colts to get the Bears to the number one. We sincerely appreciate everything that Lovie Smith did, former team, because if the Texans just would have just blew that game, they'd have the number one pick. And they wouldn't have to be thinking about trading or who's going to move them or all that. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, it had to have been a favor to someone because it makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
We think that Lovey knew he wasn't going to be coming back, so he just like gave the big finger to the organization.
Yeah, and and everybody got on board with, right? So it wasn't like the rest of the team's like, man, we don't know about this. We don't know if we're down with it. I mean, they were like, sure, let's do it.
Well, I don't think the players really want to lose on purpose.
No, but they all dug deep, and I think like Lovie Smith has always had a lot of respect just in the league, and definitely when he came here, we had a lot of respect for him, even though we knew it definitely felt interim. It didn't feel like this was going to be a long-term sort of thing. He just garners a lot of respect.
Well, again, we sincerely appreciate that. Before we go to break, I am a huge Houston Rockets fan.
Oh yeah.
You are not. Name 5 players on the Houston Rockets. You were
Jalen Green.
Okay, you were in the 90s.
Jabari Smith.
You were prepared. I named 10.
I believe you.
I am.
He used to be. He doesn't watch it.
Hakeem Olajuwon was my favorite player.
Oh yes, still one of my
underrated.
Clyde the Glide. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm going to tell you a quick story. So in 1997, Houston was playing the Utah Jazz, Game 6 in Houston. John Stockton, Malone, Nicole and I were dating at the time. And I'm a huge.
This is the origin story of why I can't watch basketball games.
Yes. So we're watching Game 6 in Houston, and we, Olajuwon, Drexler, Barkley, and I wanted so bad for the Rockets to play the Bulls in the finals. Because I still to this day hear from people like, oh, if Jordan wouldn't have retired, Houston, blah, 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 blah. I hear that all the time. So annoying. But anyway, so Houston's up 2 with like 10 seconds left. And Nicole, I'm on the phone with Nicole. You know, we're just in our teenage years, living at
dating,
living at, you know, our parents' homes, talking on phones, connects, right? Because we didn't have cell phones at the time.
Yeah.
So I was on the phone with her, and she's like, "I hate basketball. I just wish they would lose and be done." Because I'm obsessed with football. Like, I'll watch pre-shows, post-shows. Like, our son and I were watching the combine yesterday. Like, I mean, watching guys run 40 times. That's how just obsessed we are with football. So she's made those comments. John Stockton hit a 3 at the buzzer to eliminate the Rockets, and they did not make it back to the Western Conference Finals until 2018.
Yep.
So we went 21 years, and then they lost to Golden State.
Yeah, that really would be that long of a time.
Yeah,
man.
Well,
103 to 100. Yeah,
and I love that you know these dates way better than I do, and I'm a huge Rockets fan. Like it is ingrained in your soul.
Yeah, I love it too.
Yeah, she loves it.
I don't regret what I said. I said what I said.
What the score was 103-100.
Yeah, 103-100.
Okay, so we were tied.
Yep, you were tied, and then
Stockton hit a 3. And if you ever go back and watch that replay, Karl Malone was bear hugging Charles Barkley on the final shot, and they did not call it. So anyway, just, you know,
this is why anytime they're watching a basketball game or any game, and I come into the room and it turns bad, I get yelled at.
You're the genius.
Get out of here!
Yes, she cursed the Houston
I'm a
Rockets.
powerful person, so people better start paying attention.
I mean, you are curse them.
You had a chance at Chris pardon.
We did have a chance. Took a 3-2 lead against Golden State. Chris Paul got hurt, missed game 6, missed game 7, and we lost.
Yeah.
And I remember watching, like, I was so excited for that game 7, and Houston missed like 25 threes in a row. It was so bad.
Oh, yeah.
James Harden didn't play well, but anyways.
But anyway, all right. Yeah. So enough of my tangent on the Rockets. So, all right. So
we'll get back to your story.
Yes.
Right.
Back to fitness. On the Fitness Fanatics when we come back from break with Callie. Our $10,000 female winner will be right back here on 93.7 The Ticket.
This gets home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them?
By their clothes,
their age,
the way they speak.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
I know that a lot of times, Mom, it might not seem like I'm listening to you, but I am. I hear you. And what you say really does matter to me.
I mean, let's be honest. No kid likes rules, but I get why we have them. I hear you, and I know it's because you care.
For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Sponsored by DHHS and aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them?
By their clothes,
their age,
the way they speak.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
This message is for Karina, our mom who finished her high school diploma at age 28. Hi, Mom. It's Emmettith and Nicholas. Congratulations on getting your diploma. You worked so hard and have taught us so much. We love you.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
We've been a little spoiled with a mild winter so far, but the snow is here and it's time to take care of your car. Stop by your local Rocket Car Wash to remove dirt and salt buildup and protect your vehicle from winter weather wear. Visit us at our 2 area Rocket Car Wash locations for a quick, quality clean every time. If your car's interior is feeling the winter weather, check out Express Detail Tunnels at our Williamsburg location, 3833 Village Drive. RocketCarWash.com.
Veterans, do you know what local, state, and federal benefits and services you're eligible to receive? Do you want help navigating the application or appeals process? Speak to your county veteran service officer or the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs State Service Office to see what's available to you and your family. You've served our country, now let us serve you. Visit veterans.nebraska.gov today. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
They are our love bugs and companions. They are our pets, our family, and they make life better. When we face unexpected challenges, so do our pets. That's why we're on a mission to support people and their pets. Whether donating a bag of kibble, sharing an Instagram post of a lost cat, or welcoming a foster pet into your home, every bit of kindness counts. Visit petsandpeopletogether.org to learn how to be a helper in your community. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
I always had to be so good, no one could ignore me. Carve my path with data and drive. But some people only see who I am on paper. The paper ceiling, the limitations from degree screens to stereotypes that are holding back over 70 million stars. Workers skilled through alternative routes rather than a bachelor's degree. It's time for skills to speak for themselves. Find resources for breaking through barriers at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
The Ticket Water Cooler with Jake Bakoven and Enrique Alvarez Clary.
I do know the halftime entertainment.
Oh, the halftime! That's right, Red Panda's in town. Yeah, the best halftime performer in the nation. The guy that stands on chairs.
That one terrifies me.
That one I don't like.
That one scares me.
I just remember at the Bob Devaney Sports Center, for some reason it was just always kids getting in overdressed like Husker stuff and racing down the court. Like that was the go-to. That's all they really had. So what's funny than kids in oversized clothing? That's hilarious.
Perfect.
Hilarious every time. Let's do it again.
Now back to Fitness Fanatics on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, Callie. I think I've calmed down now. I was getting
Do you know, it's funny. I had somebody text me after that, and they're like, now we know what happened.
I was getting fired up even during the break. I was talking about playing the Sonics in '93. And then I was talking about how like Yao Ming broke his leg against the Lakers. And I was getting all riled up.
What's my favorite song?
Your favorite song?
You don't know. Don't even try.
Is the song that was played at our wedding.
No.
Shania Twain.
It's not true.
From this moment on.
Whatever.
And if it's not, it should be.
I was going to say, that's a pretty safe answer. It's like, that's kind of a win-win on that.
Their wedding song. Or another Shania Twain that we always, You're Still the One.
Mm-hmm. It's
Right?
not my favorite song, but it's a good song.
Okay. All right. Back to fitness. I'm calmed down now. I'm ready to get back to Farrell's and your journey.
Yeah.
Okay,
This
so
is our long segment, so we get to talk about more
All right.
non-sports.
All right, so 10-week challenge begins, and kind of tell us like that how the first week went and the culture that was there, because I know like it's very intimidating to just go, like especially when you feel like, oh my gosh, there's no hope for me, like very intimidating going into a gym, really any gym.
Going from sitting in a chair to 6 days a week. I think that's always the biggest like shock to people sometimes. Like, how am I going to work out for 6 days? I haven't worked out for 6 days.
I've been working out for
ever.
Right. Yeah.
Let alone 6 days.
But see, one of the things I tell our people, I'm pretty sarcastic just in general as a person. So I like to tell people, because this is how I say it to myself too. But whenever I am doubting if I can do something or make an excuse, I always remind myself that I'm not special. Like I'm not special, but what that really means is like your fears, the intimidations, that doesn't make you special. That makes you totally normal. So it's that security in knowing that like you're not special. You're not going to be the one person that doesn't get through the whole workout. Like that makes you normal, And so I think that's what we like to talk about that first week with so many people, because everyone has that same story from their first week, and that does not make you special. It makes you totally normal, and that should make you feel better. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I tell everybody. I'm like, my story and like how I got to where I was and I needed help, and even the journey through the 10 weeks in the year is not unique, and how I turned it all around is not special. Like it wasn't magical. It was just showing up for myself every single day. But you don't look at it as I'm here now and I have to make it to 10 weeks or I have to make it to 6 months or a year. You're just like, what I'm going to do today, what I'm going to do in the next hour, what I'm going to do in the next 2 hours. And then eventually you don't have to think about that anymore. And at that first week, I had to think about everything. One, I was so out of shape and bigger than I'd ever been. The only clothes that I had were maternity clothes. And I definitely didn't have any like workout maternity clothes because I wasn't trying to do that while I was pregnant. But I wore my husband's clothes. So I already felt like just awful about myself walking through the door. It already felt like, God, I'm in no way prepared for this. But there was also no way that I was going to try to like work out to be able to work out. You know what I mean? Like I can't do this until I'm a certain place. No, you just go and you do it. And so the going and the 45 minutes a day ended up being and still is my favorite part of the day, because you just focus on what you're doing. And so to me, all the stress of everything else, and the stress of everything else is how I got there, how I couldn't get out of the chair was all the life stress. You go in the gym and you do your thing for 45 minutes. You're thinking about the bands, you're thinking about the bag, you're thinking about the move. You're not thinking about all this stuff kind of waiting for you when you leave. And so it became a safe space. Those 45 minutes are very safe space for me, even now. Even now when I'm like stressed out, I cannot wait to put on the gloves. I cannot wait to go do the thing. But that didn't happen overnight. It was one of those things, like a couple weeks in, I realized that I used to dread it. Now I'm looking forward to it. I think the real kicker and the thing that I love about Farrell's is like the components. It's cardio, it's strength, and it's the nutrition. And I thought going in, the cardio and strength, I'd never done kickboxing and never done strength. That was going to be the part that was going to be so hard to acclimate to. And of course I understand nutrition, like don't eat bad stuff, that's it. Like, right. Like just don't eat some bad stuff and we'll be good. And I realized that everything I understood about nutrition was completely wrong. And so that was actually, to me, the part that I had to really hone in on and understand and again, I try to explain this to everybody. Like nutrition, not diet, because diets we associate with like fads and short-term gains and weird stuff, like only like boiled eggs and cayenne pepper for 10 weeks and all that kind of fun stuff. But nutrition, like a whole new way to think about food, and it's about quality. So quality food. And I gone from that 13 months, I'd eat one meal a day. And it would be like all my calories, like everything I needed for the day, all bad quality, processed, a lot of fat, a lot of sugar. And so going into that meal, I'm tired because I'm hungry. And then I eat that much at once and I'm like just comatose afterwards. So I'm always tired. I'm always feeling like gross. So that first week at Farrell's, I went immediately, and that's just my personality, I switched it on a dime. I went from eating like that to 6 meals a day following the plan. And that was the part that I needed 10 weeks to make a habit, because the cardio and the strength just ended up, I liked it after a couple of weeks and it became my normal. The nutrition I needed to do and think about every day for 10 weeks. And then it became second nature. And I realized I didn't know what an ounce was. And I realized I didn't know what I was really putting with my creamer, what was in my creamer. And I didn't know some certain things. So that was eye-opening. But the culture though at the Farrell's that I started out in spring, people were great. The staff was great. The owners. So the person that, it's like, you need to check this out. Billy, he and his wife are the ones, Billy and Nicole owned the gym. And so when I came in, they were just locked on. And that was the first time Billy had seen me in 2 years, because I left on maternity leave and then COVID and all that. Or over a year, but he, I think he was shocked when he saw me. And he was really he and Nicole were very much like, you please just do this for you, like for no other reason, just every day come in. So they were very much invested in making sure that I got my goals achieved too. So that helped. I mean, it takes a village, right? So it helped me be accountable. It helped me. It was very like the transparency helped keep me accountable. And then they've just cheered me on for everything. My abs were shot from pregnancy, just shot. Like I had tear that was like 3 fingers wide and like 2 knuckles deep in my abs. So I couldn't sit up straight. I couldn't walk straight. So doing a lot of things in the gym were just like, I would have a lot of lower back pain. And then at week 15, I realized I didn't have lower back pain anymore. So like those, and literally would celebrate every little thing, from going to being able to do my first few push-ups on my knees to going from knees to toes. Same thing with holding a plank for any amount of time and then being able to hold it for like a decent amount of time. Like everything was celebrated, and that's what you have to do. You have to have these little bite-sized goals to keep you, moving forward and challenging yourself. And that's what we did. So it was never, I mean, yes, everybody's so happy and proud of you when you're achieving your scale goals, but that's not really what it's about. And I was telling Lance this when I talked to him the other day. I'm like, I didn't know what healthy body fat was. Like, what should I be? I know I shouldn't have been at 47%. That didn't sound good, but I didn't know, what am I shooting for? And at some point I just forgot about the scale. Like, I wasn't looking at the number because I wouldn't even know. It was just a feeling. How did I feel? And am I making positive progress? And that's really, even to this day, like I don't weigh myself at all. Like because I know I'm doing what I need to do, and I'm doing the things that are positive for my body, but it's how I feel every day. And that's how I scale my, like, am I moving in the right direction?
Talk a little bit about being a mom. I know in your story that we read through, you talked about feeling like you were going to be neglecting them, and you didn't. You hear that a lot. I mean, with our members and stuff, it's just like, I don't want to leave them at home be away from for an hour. And I'm always like, they're not going to remember. They're like a year old.
It's not just, but it's
right?
a psychological, it's first of all, mom guilt. It is such a thing. It is such a thing. And not only do we get it from other people, but we get it 20 times worse from ourselves. And then we were in a state of super codependence for being 13 months. COVID, you're like locked down in your own little tribe, and you don't even see the mailman, right? Like, it's all you, and it's super intense. And the thought of leaving them even for 45 minutes, an hour, kind of like took my breath away. And I remember after that the first class I went to, Billy sat me down and he's like, okay, what are your goals? And I told him my goals are just to be able to keep up with my boys. And he's like, that's great. That's a good goal. How much time are you willing to invest to get to that goal? And we laugh about it now, but my honest to God answer was an hour a week. And he was like, okay, you're not going to get there an hour doing this an hour a week. And then the thought of like, I have to be away from my kids more than that. And it is like, it's a psychological switch you have to make. But what I saw paid back to my children and my family was far more than the 45 minutes away from them or an hour away from them that I take every day. I was able to keep up, surpass them, honestly, as I should, because they were like 5 and like 1 at the time, energy. But I think I was like 5 or 6 weeks into my first 10-week challenge, and we went to SeaWorld in San Antonio, and they have this huge cargo net. And at the top of the cargo net, I think it's like 35 feet or something. At the top is a playground for bigger kids. And my son looked up and he saw that, and he's like, I want to do it. So I told him, okay, I'll climb with you. And I think we got maybe like one like solid climb in, and he freaked out. And he's like, I'm afraid. Can I be on your back and you climb, and then you can take me up there? And I was like, okay. I was a little hesitant, but I'm like, let's try this. I climbed the whole thing with this 40-pound kid on my back, and I got on the top, and he, jumps off my back and runs away to go play. And I'm just standing there, and I look down at my husband, and his mouth is open and my mouth is open, because if rewind 5-6 weeks, that I would have had to tell him, no, let's go play something else. Like, if you can't climb by yourself, we'll go play over here. And then when he was done, we both climbed out. First, he was on my back, and then he wanted to do it himself, and we climbed down together. And I realized, it's one of those moments that kind of puts everything into perspective. Not only was I physically able to do something that I wasn't able to do before. Not only was I able to do something for him, but if I hadn't been able to do that, he wouldn't have had the opportunity to face his own fear, because he climbed down by himself, and then he felt great about himself. I would have deprived him of that opportunity. So you really do see, like, I'm getting way more from my family's getting way more out of this too. So it started to outweigh the guilt, and now the guilt's like not there at all. And even the boys will tell me, going to the gym, or is it time for you to go to the gym? So they know, like, everybody knows it's part of the scenery, it's part of the day.
Right.
But it does take a bit to kind of get over that guilt. But I promise you, you do. Like everybody has gains from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you get to the point where, like, if you haven't gotten your workout in or whatever, the people around you are like spouses or whatever are like, you just need to go. Like, you need to get out of here. Like we hear that a lot from people, our members and stuff, when they've been sick or something, they've missed a little bit. And, there's the kind of this tipping point where it's like, okay, you're not the same person right now that you are when you're, getting that workout in every day. You need to go do that. And I think that's a good tipping point too, sometimes for people, where it becomes such a habit that like, it really does seem like something's missing when you can't get that workout in, and I think you just posted on your Facebook this week about that, about how you were having a terrible day and that workout is what pulled you out of that, and that's a huge accomplishment, I think.
I think she might be froze a little bit.
Oh,
right now.
okay. Okay.
Okay. Yep. So actually, it might be a good time to go to break.
All right.
Anyways,
Yeah, we do.
And we can
need
get
to
her
go.
back on
Yeah.
here.
Yep.
All right. Let's go to break. We'll
Yeah.
be right back here on the Fitness Fanatics 93.7 The Ticket.
A new year means new goals and upgrading, but that doesn't only apply to health and fitness. Mullen Motors can get you into a new vehicle right now and get your 2023 started off the right way. They cleared off their 2022 inventory and have tons of new vehicles to choose from to make sure you get to where you need to be this year. Out with the old and in with the new. Stop by Mullen Motors today, just north of 48th and Lake.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People City Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends, surprise parties, camps, birthdays. The same way you plan for the important moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them?
By their clothes,
their age,
the way they speak.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Now back to Fitness Fanatics on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey.
All right, we're back. Hopefully we got you back on there. You froze a little bit there, Callie, but are you back?
I am back. And
Okay, good.
freeze in a weird position.
No, I don't think so. Right before we went to break, we were kind of talking about that mom guilt, and I was talking about how earlier this week on Facebook you had even posted how you were having a hard day and like you just couldn't wait until get that workout in, and that's what turned it around. I think that's an important message for people because when you first start out your fitness journey, you don't think that that's ever going to be you, right?
I mean, if you told me like at the beginning of all this is where I would end up, this is, how I would feel, everything that would happen to me, I would laugh. First of all, if you told me you're going to end up loving kickboxing, I would have laughed really hard. And that you would look forward to strength training. It just doesn't seem like it would have been a thing, but you understand most of us going into it for an absolute need. Like we know we need it. And so this is the lifeline. So give yourself over to the process. But I tell my mom friends this all the time that, when you're on a plane and the flight attendants tell you, if you're traveling with a minor or somebody who needs assistance and the oxygen mask comes down, you put your own oxygen mask on first, and then you assist the others. Because if you're incapacitated, you can't help anybody. And so that guilt comes from a place that we want to help everybody, but we're not giving anyone, including ourselves, our full 100% care because we can't. We need to put the oxygen mask on first. And to me, like working out, getting my nutrition in check, all of that was the oxygen mask. And now I'm able to do for them a whole lot more and a whole lot better for them than I was before. So, in the end, you're actually, giving so much to them and you don't even realize it until you're able to look back. But trust the process. Jump in because you need to, and just trust the process.
Yep. So at what point in your 10 weeks did you start to think national challenge? Like when did you think maybe I should try this? And why did you want to do the national challenge, the year challenge?
So probably not until it was over. The 10 weeks were over and we had the 10-week party. Because I'd really forgotten what I looked like. I knew scale-wise where I was at the end of the 10 weeks. I was super happy about that. And I knew how I felt. Like I felt completely different, was able to do a lot more. I felt more capable too. And then I won my first 10-week challenge. And so I got to see that picture for the before picture for the first time. And I think I think they have it on camera somewhere on video, but my jaw dropped because I'd completely forgotten what I looked like. But also, I never saw that picture before. And if you see it now, I look unhappy. Like my face is unhappy. I remember being like, take the picture. Like, let's hurry up and have this over with. And at that point, that's when I realized I did that. I went from that to where I was at the end of the 10 weeks. In 10 weeks, like what could I do if I stuck with this for a year? And I knew I was going to stick with it for a year, regardless if I was in the challenge or not. But I was thinking to myself, imagine where I could push myself if I did this. So I signed up like the next day for the year challenge. And then I took it. I even still now, I live my life in 10-week chunks. Like I feel like everything is 10-week chunks now. But I just took every challenge like I was still in it to win it, that 10-week challenge, just to see how far I could push myself. And so the first 10 weeks, I lost 20 pounds. The second 10 weeks, I lost 20 pounds. The next one after that, 10. and then another 10, and then like 5. My last 10-week challenge, though, I think was probably the most progress I had muscle wise. Like I ended up just fully concentrating on muscle. And when I started getting compliments from other women on my arms, like I had some woman stop me in the grocery store and she's like, I want your shoulders. And that is like the blow me away compliment, because I've never been a muscular or tone person ever, even at my thinnest. I've never had a lot of strength, even at my thinnest. So that was just, those were like hashtag goals. Like I want to be that capable, strong person that people see, like I want to do that. So so that's really kind of that 10-week end of 10 week when I saw the picture difference and thinking, wow, I could really push myself. I never thought I would win it. I thought I was going to leave. I'm the kind of personality that I don't ever want to look back with regret. So I'm like, I'm going to finish this year knowing that I did everything I could do. I left it all out there. And then what happens, happens. And then I started seeing other people in the challenge, their end of year pictures and their stories. And I was extremely motivated by them and inspired by them. And I'm like, okay, it wasn't me, but man, to be in the class of people, that group it's insane. And knowing that I finished what I started in a lot of ways, it was, and it not finished that one chapter was its own goal too. It's such an amazing thing to do and finish in a way that you made yourself proud. I mean, that's what you should always do. Like the real goal here is making yourself proud along the way. And I did. And I finished like in June or July. So I knew it would be a long time before we even found out. But I just kept living 10 weeks. And then my husband did it as well. He started 22 weeks after me, but who's counting? I remember exactly like harassing him for 22 weeks until he started. But he finished his in December. And so he only had like a handful of weeks to wait, which is cruel, like compared to like months. Right. But I was so proud of him too, because we are just, our mindset when it comes to like fitness, nutrition, completely different. I'm like all in and I'm locked in, and I changed my nutrition. Like we started on Monday, it changed on Monday. He was different. He was the kind, and I think he probably is a more realistic approach where you just phase certain things out and replace them gradually, and you start, changing habits gradually. And so we both tackled it in completely different ways. And if you see his before and after, it's insane. Like he did so good. And he, in the middle of that, he had hernia surgery. He only missed 2 weeks and then jumped back in. So he was just, and the great thing is we did it together in a lot of ways. And then we inspired each other. We motivated each other. We reminded each other. So that's the other thing too. Like if you're going to do it, like, get your house involved, because it's just so much easier when everybody in the house is doing the same thing.
Well, and that's a really important message for people to hear too, because, you start a program like Farrell's and it's 6 days a week, and you're going to get this help with the nutrition. But there's also a part where you have to know yourself, or you have to learn yourself. And so like you knew that you could be that all or nothing type person, jump right in, and you were successful. And your husband, that wasn't, Jeff and I are the same way. We're very different in almost every single thing that we do. Like if we're leaving our house and we're driving somewhere separately, we will take different routes, like on accident. Like we're very, very different. But you were both able to see success by sticking with that blueprint and looking, long term with it, not short term, which is really important, because not everyone has that personality where they can just go from not paying attention to nutrition to like tracking macros immediately and be successful. Because some people will burn out with that. But that was really important for both of you to learn how you could still succeed together and do it your own way and still kind of end in that finish line, those different benchmarks.
Oh yeah, and he finished in the top 10 too. And he was the kind of person who never worked out before. He was just not motivated to move. So his journey is like completely different. Even though we're in the same house and we're locked on to the same goals, we're just completely different. But it's doable. And I tell everybody this, like the program and the workouts meet you where you are. So, you get like you get your workout bestie that comes to your same class over and over again. My workout bestie started because she was about to be an empty nester. Her last kid was going off to college, and she walked in like just beautiful, like just like muscle, like cardio. I mean, she was a cardio queen. She was not going there because she needed this to save her life like I did. She wanted to have a hobby and she wanted to cultivate friendships. But she came in and I came in and we started like 10 weeks apart, and the program will meet you where you are. So she is at a different place physically than I am, but we're in the same class and we're both like ending it like exhausted and feeling great about ourselves. And the same thing with nutrition. And then it grows with you. So even now you jump in and take a class, and I've been doing this. I started almost 2 years ago in April. It's still a challenge. Every single class is a challenge because you're pushing yourself, and the nutrition is always going to be there and you're always going to be working towards that. So it's, and regardless of mindset, the blueprint, like you said, is the blueprint. And so you approach that with your personality, but you just follow that blueprint. You follow the map that other people have traveled this road. It's tried and true. So just, help follow that map and the path they've already laid, and you will be successful. And you can do it with your own flair, your own style, and your own pace.
So I'm sorry, I'm taking over, Jeff.
Oh, no, you're fine.
What were, looking back over your challenge, your year, it's always fun to talk about the successes and the great stories, but what were some of your challenges, some of the things that you struggled with, and how did you overcome that?
That was going to be my exact
I don't
question.
believe you.
No, I would, because, and the point of that question is because, we've been at this Farrell's business for 15 years. We've been owners for 10 years.
For me this month.
We see like how many people quit the 10-week challenge that do not finish.
Yeah.
So now we're going from 10 weeks to a year. Like
a year and 10 weeks,
yeah,
really.
Stuff happens in the 10 weeks.
Yeah.
Somebody dies.
Yeah.
Death
You get
family,
COVID. Somebody
injuries.
Yes, something happens.
Oh, no, we had so many. I mean, it's because life happens. Life doesn't stop because you entered a fitness challenge, right? Like that life doesn't stop because you put goals in place and say, okay, go on pause so I can be successful. Through that course of that year, we had so much, like that first 10-week challenge, my mother was diagnosed with cancer. She had to have her spleen completely removed and part of her pancreas, and her surgery was the day of the 10-week challenge party. And I was with her in the hospital all that day, and she told me, I want you to go to the party. So I went to the party, stayed for like an hour and a half, and then turned around and drove back to the hospital. A few months later, I think my husband's first 10-week challenge, our ceiling collapsed in our bedroom because we had hail damage, didn't realize it because we have really high ceilings, and it rained really hard, and we came home and there was no ceiling. So they had to remodel our whole downstairs, and supply chain issue. That thing went on for like 6-8 months, and we had to sleep upstairs in the kids' game room on an air mattress. And I don't care how good an air mattress you get, it's still just a stinking air mattress. And it was miserable. We couldn't use our kitchen. We couldn't really be downstairs. So we're all like crammed into like a couple rooms upstairs for months, and we still never missed a workout. We still went. And actually, that's what saved my sanity, honestly, because I got out of the house. I got a hot shower. I got to like be around things other than construction. I mean, both of us were like running out the door to get to the gym just to get out of the chaos. But a lot of things will happen, especially when you're talking longevity. And this whole program and really changing your life and changing your health is about sustainability. So life will happen. I'm sure, knock on wood, something's going to happen next year and the year after that. And you can't, like, the thing that, and the mindset that I have now is that my workouts, they are the buoy in the rocky seas. And so like, no matter what's going on and changing around me, that won't change. I still have that. And that's a consistency. And that's a comfort. It's also a place that I go like to, again, forget all the chaos and the sadness and the anxiety or, whatever, it's the stressors of everything. And I just go and I lose myself for 45 minutes. All that stuff will be waiting for you when you leave. And it doesn't go away, unfortunately, but you can absolutely focus someplace else and something that you have more control over. I have control of what I do in the gym for 45 minutes, but I don't have control over my ceiling collapsing and how fast they're going to be able to fix the house or even my mother's health. But I do have control over that. And it's a comfort. And then like, that's what happened to my husband. Like his ended up being we don't work out at the same time. We could never work out at the same time. So he works out midday and I work out in the evening, and his 11 15 class was his, like, it was his sanity. And the funny thing is his workout bestie is a 72-year-old woman, Gloria, who she is just and talk about being inspired. You go in and you see Gloria like hit the bags, you're like, man, like that's what I want to do. That's how I want to be now, let alone when I'm 72. But yeah, so he would go in and he'd be able to like talk to his friends and focus on his workout, and it's just a way to get away from the chaos.
I like that too, because when my fitness background, I was not really in sports. I was never really competitive enough to be really good at anything sports wise, but like, you get to come in and do kickboxing, and you almost get to be your alter ego for a little bit, which is fun. That's kind of fun. You go to the grocery store and you see people and you're like, they have no idea, but I could them so hard right now. Right. So it kind of feels like you have this like superpower that nobody knows about, which is kind of fun. It kind of makes it fun that it's not something that you use in your everyday life necessarily, like that I know how to throw, a loud roundhouse kick, a heavy, strong roundhouse kick. Nobody really needs to know that, and I think that's kind of fun. That makes it fun. I'm a runner. We're runners too, and running is fun too, but I also like to know that, like, I feel like I could put up a pretty good fight if someone tried to take me down on a run. Like, you might be able to overpower me, but it's going to be the hardest, like, 10 minutes of your life.
You're gonna have to want it really bad. You're not giving it. Yeah, that's how I feel. The other thing too is I've tried other cardio workouts. Friends and everybody when they realized I was doing this, or especially since I won the challenge, people are like, oh, come try this workout with me. Like, this will really challenge you. I'm like, y'all don't know. You don't know how hard, I've been training for this. So I go in and they're great workouts. They are. But so far I haven't found anything that takes me to my knees, because like the stamina you build up, the strength you build up. I feel like if you can do this and you build up your strength and your stamina, you can take on any challenge. So, and I was hearing you guys at the start of all this before I came on about the running. Like I'm going to train for my first half marathon, and just out of nowhere decided to because we're going to do this 5K in 2 weeks. Let me just see. My goal is like, I just want to run the whole thing without stopping. I don't care what the time is. So, everybody's like, here's a plan to build up to 5K, couch to 5K kind of thing.
Right.
And so I was just like, let me just run it. Yeah. And I ran it at like a 9-minute split. And I don't think I've ever been able to run like a 5K at all. And definitely was not in any way, shape, or form like timing myself. And I was not winded at all. I mean, my ankle bothered me before, my ankle gave up before the rest of me did. But and I was thinking, wow, like that is all, strength right there. Like that's, I was not running before this. And I was able just to like kind of gut it out.
And it's the mental hurdles that you've crossed over the last year too, in class, in workouts. Or what I also like about Farrell's, and you've experienced this, is you remember your first day, and then and then you get done with your session, and a couple weeks later new people come in, and they're struggling through that first day workout, and you're still struggling through it too, because you're punching harder and faster and kicking harder than you were 10-12 weeks prior. But like, it's really cool to see that kind of transformation with other people too. And even though we cycle in 10 weeks at Farrell's, you're stronger with every 10-week session. So you really get to you get to stand next to people during that first week, and nobody believes you when you say, I know it's going to be so hard, but you'll get better. But like, you get to see that every 10 weeks, you get to see other people get better. And struggle, and that you went through that too. And I think that's a really cool part about it too. Like that
they can, like, that's the thing I always tell them. And when, especially people that came in like towards the end of my year, even after my year was over, and they would start new, and I would tell them, I'm like, you're normal. What you feel right now is totally normal, but I guarantee you'll get over it. Every day you'll get a little bit better and get a little bit better. And they kind of like dismiss me. And then I would take them over and show them my before picture, because they think they will look at me like, of course, like, whatever. I'm like, no, you don't know. Like, I couldn't walk 2 feet without getting winded, and I couldn't sit up straight. My core was shot. I mean, there was just a lot of bad stuff happening. And when they saw the picture, That's when the before picture, that's when they're like, oh God. And I had some guy tell me, he's like, my sister thinks all these things are made up and that they're just Photoshopped pictures for any time there's a before and after. So he asked me to take a picture with my before picture and like basically holding up my phone to prove that it was the day's date and it was me and I was real. And he's like, I'm going to get her to come. But no, I'm a real person and I started exactly where everybody, when they start, like that is completely normal part of the journey. And embrace it. You have to embrace and you should always live in a place where you're slightly uncomfortable, because if you ever living in a place where you're comfortable, you've stopped challenging yourself, you stopped growing. And that's my 13 months of being extremely comfortable has taught me, is like live in a place where you're stretching yourself at least a little. And so if you're uncomfortable after that first class, good, because it's only going to get better from there. And then when you get comfortable again, like in 10 weeks or whatever it is, you're going to push yourself harder and get uncomfortable again. And it's great. And then bring somebody else in and let them be uncomfortable too. And y'all can be uncomfortable together.
Yeah. It's all about room for improvement too. The more you struggle in that first class, like that's like exciting. Look at all this room for improvement that I have for myself, and we don't talk up to ourselves that way, just generally, unfortunately. So I think hopefully the more we can talk to people and get those stories out, we can show people like, you can do it too. You're not special. They're not special. You just did it. You trusted the process. And that's true with anything. Like that return on that investment was huge.
Well, and that this isn't a new program. This isn't something somebody dreamt up like a year ago. We're all guinea pigs trying to see if it works. I mean, this is tried and true, and I'm not the first year winner ever. And, honestly, I've talked to the other 4 women who finished in the top 5. Every single one of their stories, absolutely inspirational. Every single one of their befores, the same place. The details are different, but the story's the same. Like we all found ourselves at a rock bottom, at a place we were so unhealthy. And we started the program, literally gave ourselves over to the process. It doesn't mean that we didn't have bad days. I mean, I had a lot of bad days, had a lot of days you have to talk yourself into, like, you can do this. You can do this because you did it yesterday and you did it the day before that, and you'll be fine. And tonight you can moan all you want, but you'll get over it. And we all had that. And then if you look at their pictures, they are some of the strongest, most beautiful, just like amazing women. And so it's humbling to know that you're part of that, but also humbling to know that this is, again, not unique. The stories are not unique. And we've tried and true been able to prove that this program works. It's the people it's all of us, and this is just life. When we get in our own way, that's when the progress starts to stall. So out of your way, blindly trust the process until you can get back in the driver's seat and do it again. But yeah, and I tell everybody, I promise, if you just stick with this, I promise you will see positive results.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, and you see a lot of sometimes these infomercials and stuff, and people with amazing changes, and at the bottom there's an asterisk. It says, results not typical.
Yep.
Well, at Farrell's there should be an asterisk that says results are typical.
Yeah.
Because what's so cool is and why we love the program so much is, why we've been in it for 15, 16 years is, you go through a 10-week challenge and you see all these amazing changes. And then 3 weeks later, we get a whole new group of people, and then they see amazing changes. And it goes on and on. And on. And same with the $10,000 winners. Like, I'm sure you went back and looked at past $10,000 winners for the females, and you're like, oh my gosh, can I be like that? Like, these are insane results. Like, we're talking like Biggest Loser type results, but done the healthy and the correct way over a long period of time, which is a year and 10 weeks.
Sustainability, right?
Yes, it's so inspiring, and that's why we love it so much. Like, for us, it never gets old because we always have a new group of people coming in. So now we get to start that process all over of seeing them being nervous and changing and developing habits and getting off blood pressure medication and just all kinds of awesome non-scale victories that people see. And so we have a few people doing the year challenge here in Lincoln, and one of them is Mark, who's the station manager at the Ticket, and he started in April of 2022, and so that's when he did his 10-week challenge. And
it sounds like that's when Callie's was too. It'll be the same. Like,
yeah,
he'll be done in June.
He'll be done in
So
June.
it'll be like a year later. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So he has to wait 7 months to find
You
out.
can do it, man. It's a long way, but it's worth it.
Yeah, he's listening.
So he's lost 123 pounds so far.
Yes. That's
in
awesome.
10 months. Well, he's coming up on a year is when he started his 10-week challenge.
Awesome.
So, and when I talk to him and we have him on the different radio shows here, I don't want people to think that just because they join a Farrell's and now they have a Farrell's membership, they're just magically going to transform, right? Callie, you had your changes because you wanted them.
Oh yeah.
You were ready, and it's 100% because of you. Now Farrell's is the vehicle, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're the driver.
Yeah.
And so many people start the 10 weeks, everybody hears the same things, and people quit and they don't finish. They sign up for the year and they quit and they don't finish.
Yeah.
So I try to let our listeners know that, because I don't want them to join here in Lincoln and be like, oh, Mark's lost 100 pounds in 10 months. So
where's the pill? Where's the pill you're giving?
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. He's gotten his changes because he has worked his butt off.
Yeah.
And yes, he has trusted the process and the accountability that Farrell's provides, and the all the people and the members and the support group. So Nicole's kind of giving me the wave. We need to go to break.
I'm surprised that Harrison hasn't.
Harrison's just loving
given you the hook yet.
All right, so
last break.
We're gonna go to break. We'll come back. We'll finish up Callie here with you in just a couple minutes on 93.7 The Ticket, Fitness Fanatics.
Mike Shaver here to tell you that Trek CBD has a new name, and it's Hemp Boss. It's the same product you've grown to love, just a new name. Spring sports are on the horizon, and Hemp Boss has a variety of products that help calm me down during games and on the golf course so I don't go over the top. And they have a variety of options for you to calm you down before, during, and after any event. Whether you're looking for drinkable Delta 8 seltzers, hemp-derived Delta 9 syrups for your beverages, or anything else, Hemp Boss has it all at 84th and the internet. Hemp Boss, naturally healthy CBD.
Turning my pain into purpose is pretty much what I have done to start this foundation.
In August 2020, after the death of George Floyd, Bridget Floyd and other family members established the George Floyd Memorial Foundation in support of the Black community.
It's going to take more than just us as a foundation. It's going to take the community, the world, to make a change.
Fight for racial justice for the Black community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Baseball season is here, and your Husker baseball team wants to see you at Haymarket Park. Season tickets, diamond deals, and single game tickets are on sale now. Opening day is March 7th with the Huskers taking on Northern Colorado. For more information and to purchase tickets, visit huskers.com/tickets. The Huskers need your help kicking the home season off strong with Creighton, Omaha, and some of the best in the Big Ten coming to town. Need family plans for spring break? Come on down to Haymarket Park. For more information, go to huskers.com/tickets.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again and they're hiring for production operators at $24.11 per hour, which grows to $28.27 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $32.76 per hour with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates with increased bonuses and vacation education for new hires. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
I'm Brian. At 58, doctors told me I had the heart of a 37-year-old man. They told me that after my heart transplant surgery. If you're a smoker, here are some tips in case that happens to you. First, you have to quit smoking before you can get on a list for a transplant. So quit now. And never feel sorry for yourself. I don't. I only feel sorry for that 37-year-old man.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
The captain, Vershawn Jackson.
Hey, I've been injured before the game. At Nebraska? In Michigan State. How'd you get hurt, Michigan State? I hit with a piece of chair. It hit me in my arm. Did it cut you? Yeah. Really? Yeah, I had to get taped up before the game. This is Christian now. We're all in here. It's Michigan State. When he was talking that stuff, and he took the clock off of the wall and said, broke the clock over his head.
His helmet?
I didn't say anything about a helmet. Put him on their ass, V8 style, baby. Smash football.
Now back to Fitness Fanatics on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, Callie, we got just a couple minutes here, and we'll let you get to your day on this Sunday. Again, we appreciate your time and sharing your story, and hopefully that what we've kind of talked about today will help encourage people, kind of give them the jolt they need to maybe start doing something today or
get off their own chair and get moving.
Right.
Yeah.
So just a couple more minutes here. We just want to kind of get some advice from you, that maybe could help others out there listening that might be struggling with not just doing ferals, but, really doing anything, start doing something for their health. So any parting words of advice that you could give for our listeners?
Well, first I have to make a change. So I think a lot of times mentally, all the negative things we say to ourselves to kind of keep us from moving forward, it's because of that fear of change. You're going to have to change. What you're doing now isn't working for you. What I was doing wasn't working for me. It was working against me. So you're going to be uncomfortable, but it's okay because you can do it. You go in and you give 100%, and your 100% day one, if you do ferals, your first day of your first 10-week challenge, it's going to look 100% different than you do at the end. So you give your 100%, whatever that looks like that day. And some days it's more than others. And you just give yourself over to that, knowing that every day that you're striving forward. I tell people at work this too, like when there's a big problem, we see the elephant. Nobody's asking you to eat the elephant. You take it in chunks. And so every day is a different chunk, and just look at it like daily, not even 10 weeks, not even weekly, not over a year. You just look at it daily. And that also build a community around you, because we fail when we do things in isolation. Because it's us and those voices have typically not served us well, because again, we got here somehow. And it's usually those voices. So surround yourself in a community of other people with like-minded goals, maybe even starting from the same place as you, which is again, why I loved ferals and the 10-week program. When I started, there were other people in the exact same place as me. It was new for them. It was new for me. And we all kind of came up together. And then when the next group of people came, we could help them, and then they could help each other. But build your community. And then also ask for help. Yes. It is a beautiful thing to have people to ask to help us. And that's with accountability, and just encourage me, or I'm having a bad day, or, how would you handle this? Or how would you handle that? Reach out, because, you don't realize that literally everybody has their hand out, and wanting to help you. And I've experienced that too. Even with past year challenge participants and winners, they've reached out to me through the course of the last year and helped me. So lean on that, and embrace it. And I guarantee you can do it. I guarantee it that a year from now, if you start today, if you start tomorrow, a year from now, you will love who you are so much more than where you are right now, just because you tried and just because you kept moving. And you don't know, don't decide what that's going to look like or who that person's going to be. But I guarantee you, when you meet them, you're going to be very proud of who that person is.
Yeah, that's great.
All right, Callie. Well, again, we appreciate it so much. My parting advice to you is to keep changing lives. Be an inspiration. Be a light. Great things about Farrell's is giving back to others. That's why Nicole and I became owners of our gym. So we appreciate it. But just keep doing what you're doing and know that you're making an impact and helping to change others.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Callie.
Yep. Bye. You have a great one.
All right. You too.
Bye.